Have you ever had a night so quiet it felt like the world was holding its breath? A night when even the moon seemed to be waiting for something to happen. That's how it was the night my family got a rude awakening. At 3 a.m., someone started pounding on our front door like they owned our lives. If my dad, Rick Lewis, hadn't spent half his life sneaking through places the map forgets, we wouldn't be here telling the story today. We lived in Willow Point, a sleepy Texas cul-de-sac where people waved from riding mowers, and the most scandalous thing that ever happened was Mrs. Padilla's teenager stealing his own bike for attention. My dad, a retired Navy SEAL, bought the house because the brochure promised peaceful streets and community pride. But Dad didn't trust peace that asked him to relax. He always double-checked deadbolts, sat with his back to the wall at restaurants, and kept a tactical pen next to the grocery list. Little quirks I teased him about, until the night they saved us. It was just like any other night. Mom was out of town, Dad grilled chicken, and I pretended to study while scrolling through my phone. By 11 p.m., the house was quiet. The sprinklers clicked on, and I drifted off to sleep with my earbuds in. At 3:03 a.m., the silence shattered. A metallic click followed by voices, low, calm, deliberate. Not the type of voices you hear from drunk teenagers. Dad's eyes opened before I even noticed the song changed. He didn't sit up fast. He moved like a cat avoiding a vacuum, creeping down the hall past wedding photos. He paused at my door long enough to hear me snoring, then quietly opened the cabinet. Inside, hidden under years of dust, was the Benelli M4, smooth as a whispered secret. Outside, the porch light caught two figures dressed in black utility vests with shiny reflective letters, HOA enforcement. Legit enough to fool anyone tired from a long day, but Dad noticed everything. The cheap laminated badges, the lack of agency patches, the way one guy shifted like his boots were too new. Clipboard guy stepped forward and barked, "Open up, compliance inspection, mandatory HOA check." Dad didn't flinch. He didn't say a word. But when the second man spoke, counted down, 3 seconds, then we breach, that was the tipping point. Nobody uses the word breach in suburbia. The lock splintered, the door swung open, and the first man rushed in expecting a half-asleep accountant. Instead, he met a retired SEAL. Dad's voice sliced through the dark. "Not another step." Clipboard guy twitched toward his belt. Maybe for a weapon, maybe for nerve. It didn't matter. Dad's shotgun cracked once, the sound swallowing the room. The man dropped, folding onto the tile, and his partner bolted, trampling my mom's petunias as he ran. Dad didn't chase. Pursuit risks exposure. His job was to protect us. He locked eyes with me, barefoot and shaking at the pantry door. He raised a hand for silence, then swept the house, windows, back door, every corner before giving the all clear. He handed me the landline, voice steady, and said, "Dial 911, read the facts slow." My thumb trembled as I dialed. Minutes later, police lights filled the neighborhood, sirens cutting through the quiet that seemed so permanent. But the irony hit fast. They cuffed Dad first, because that's how life works sometimes. They hustled me outside barefoot as they treated him like the perp, even though the real perp was lying moaning on our tile floor, bleeding with fake laminate authority. The police found the getaway truck a few blocks away, doors wide open, engine running. Inside, a duffel bag jammed with radios, zip ties, forged inspection forms, and blank fines ready to be handed out. Our visitors weren't just amateurs. They'd been touring counties, posing as HOA enforcement, exploiting people's natural reflex to obey anything that looks official. In Arizona, one of their break-ins ended with a homeowner collapsing from panic and never getting back up. That case was still open when our shotgun blast drew a line through their timeline. It took 3 long days for detectives and lawyers to clear Dad of any wrongdoing. Texas Castle Doctrine couldn't have been clearer. Forced entry, nighttime, armed suspects, lethal force justified. But that doesn't ease the drill of realizing someone just tried to break into your home. Mom came home early. She looked at the cracked frame around the deadbolt and burst into tears. Tears that didn't stop until sunrise. Dad replaced the door the same day but left the broken latch on his workbench, like a trophy he never wanted. The neighborhood changed overnight. People installed camera doorbells and left porch lights on till dawn. Our annual block barbecue quietly disappeared. The neighbors still waved, but there was hesitation in their eyes. Mr. Kent from 2 houses over called Dad a hero, but wouldn't let his kids trick-or-treat down our walkway months later. The paradox of protection, saving the ship but reminding everyone it can still sink. Inside, the air felt different. Mom cleaned obsessively. I flinched every time the doorbell rang, rehearsing how I'd stand if someone tried the latch again. One Saturday, Dad asked me if I wanted range time. Part of me feared he was molding me into a soldier. What it did was teach me to breathe, how to respect the line between ready and reckless. We never spoke about the intruders after the arraignment, but their shadows still lingered. At sentencing, the judge gave them 20 years each, no parole. Dad didn't attend. He was regrouting the bathroom floor, whistling the old Cretans tunes. I asked him if justice felt good. He stared at the fresh towel lines and said, "Nobody wins, son. Some of us just keep breathing." The block still feels safer because of Dad, but no one's thrown him a parade. That's exactly how he wanted it. Peace, he always said, doesn't crow. It watches. But even now, when the wind jostles the chimes, Dad's eyes drift toward the front door. The house knows. Now I ask you, if 2 strangers knocked at your door wearing authority they printed off a website, would you open? Would you question? Would you be ready to protect what matters?